But I knew that I was gay basically most of my life. I mean, I remember like throughout elementary school, like having those feelings, but always saying like, okay, well that's not right. Eventually I'll figure it out. Right now I'm 9 years old. Like I don't want to be thinking about this. I'll figure it out later.
It's pretty universal that, not always, but it's pretty common that you always just kind of know that, um, and that was definitely it for me.
I have always known um, that I was also attracted to women. That does not mean I'm not also attracted to men, as I was holding boys' hands at the back of the classroom as well. I was playing both fields.
For me, it wasn't necessarily me becoming gay, but it was me, like, looking inside myself and, like, finally figuring it out, or even learning the different, like, I guess just, like, learning that it could be a thing, and then within that going, like, oh, like, that fits me better.
I ended up coming out my junior year, only a little bit over a year ago, actually. And that was a very difficult experience, but one that I really value and that I'm learning to value.
I came out to my dad first. My mom was gone, she was working, and I just remember doing breathing exercises in my room beforehand, trying to mentally piece together how I was gonna come out and say this and what was their reaction gonna be. And we have family friends who are gay, and so I was like, well, hopefully they'll be okay with, their daughter, being pansexual, but you never know.
I actually came out to my mom first, and it was through talking about like my gay best friend at the time, Justin, and I was like, Mom, you know that Justin's gay, right? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, well, what would you do if you were his mom and he told you? And then she was like, well, I would tell him that I still love him, obviously. And she was like, it's not that big of a deal.
My dad said something that every queer person wishes for, and he said, I love you, and I'm gonna love you no matter what. And he said that he felt like the presence of God in those moments, that there was a flush, that there was an overwhelming rush of warm light that just overcame him. And
I was here when traditions were still a thing on the halls before they got taken away. And I experienced a lot of emotional turmoil regarding traditions and the forced nudity and exposure that happened in traditions. I was not comfortable with my sexuality. I was not comfortable with my body, and it was very difficult for me and a painful experience looking back.
When you're a freshman and you like get your roommate assignments through Banner or whatever, I immediately like logged onto Facebook and like tried to find them, and it like would give you your phone number. So we were like, my roommates Stephanie and Caitlin, we started texting, and I remember like coming out to them right away. I was like, hey guys, like just so you know, like I'm gay, and like if that makes you uncomfortable or anything at all, like changing in the room kind of thing, like I'm more than willing to leave. Like I knew that I was going into, or I thought I knew I was going into a community that was going to be more like my dad, like my mom. And so I was ready to make any changes necessary, because I felt like I was like the burden on the community, and I felt like I was the one who needed to change to make everybody feel more comfortable.
As I went through my freshman year, I was still in this place where I was not telling people, didn't want to out myself, didn't want to not feel safe on campus. But then the longer I went on like that, the longer I also felt this need to be active and to speak out for my community and for my fellow LGBTQ plus students.
There's been a couple times, like, if I'm wearing a dress, I can't use a urinal anymore. So, like, I'll have to go into the stall. And then when I come out, I, like, listen for, like, okay, are there other people out there? What are their reactions going to be? Because I'm scared of making other people uncomfortable. And there's been times where I've come out of the stall and people, like, have to, like, look again and be like, oh, okay, there's a dude in a dress, or there's a dude in a skirt. Like, it makes people uncomfortable. So gender neutral bathrooms are a beautiful thing. I wish SPU had. I wish SPU understood how significant that is.
The first time I ever was called a faggot was on SPU's campus because I was wearing makeup. It was the day after the election, and someone felt privileged enough to do that as I was walking home from campus. And that was really hard. But more often than not, I like to wear makeup because it makes people ask me, they're like, who are you? What do you do? And it's a teaching moment. It's a teaching moment for me to express to children, like boys and girls and anyone who identifies of any gender or no gender at all can wear makeup and feel beautiful in their true self. And I've really enjoyed that.
Everyone deserves to live authentically. No one deserves to have to stay in the closet their whole life, especially not at your educational institution.
Me, this idea that people who are part of the LGBTQ plus community were immoral and corrupt and only sexually driven. And I can tell you that I don't find myself to be any of those things. And that is frustrating and hard. And
For those people, just to be able to name that it's homophobic, that it's transphobic, it's not your convictions, it's that there's something that you are uncomfortable with, that you see us as not pure, and I just want that to be addressed.
I mean, they like to say that they're diverse, but then when decisions are made, only the majority is addressed. And so I think that diversity does not just come in people of different shapes, sizes, colors, and sexualities and genders, but it also comes in like the way that we think as well, and like our ideologies and our morals. So I think that in the future, if the student body is allowed to like make decisions and kind of like help like progress the school forward, both in time and in true diversity, you need like they have to take everybody's voice into account.